Welcome to this latest edition out of a series of interviews which we are holding as Europe Direct Core platform. Interviews which are focusing on themes which are of particular interest to youths. And today, to discuss the chosen theme, which is the EuroScola program, I'm very happy to welcome with us Ms. Theresa Hoban. Welcome, Theresa. Hi.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for accepting our invitation. Theresa, may I ask you to introduce yourself and the work that you do, especially with young people?
Yes, sure. So I'm Theresa Hoban. I'm a lecturer of marketing at Junior College in Amsterdam. I've been here for over 20 years now. And many of us lecturers, we get engaged in a lot of extracurricular activity, which helps in the holistic development of the students. And one of the programs that we offer is through our international office with Oriana. And it's the EuroScola project, which is offered by the European Union for Youth.
Okay, so I think you use the term which I find really important, so the holistic development of young people, because very often, unfortunately, we tend to focus very much on the academic development, but that is not always enough to help our young people build the skills that they need to be successful in life in general, right?
Exactly. And we have to be realistic that although here we prepare students for university, there will be those that don't want to. And we need to provide them with experiences that they wouldn't normally get in the typical academic framework. And as I said, EuroScola, amongst other Erasmus programs that we have, along with Youth Guarantee and Agencia Zaza, we collaborate as well there, which also have European opportunities. You know, let them see what's out there. And sometimes that can act as a catalyst for many of these students to motivate them to study or to help them find a path that they didn't realize existed and something that they become passionate about then.
Exactly, it's true. I can relate to that both as a former student and also as a recruiter. I think people who employ tend to seek these kind of experiences in the CVs which are sent to them for particular job openings. I think gone are the days where people just look at qualifications and the mark achieved.
Exactly. Totally agree there.
Okay, so EuroScola, what is it? Because there are so many programs and people tend to get confused. So can you share a little bit about that?
Sure. To be honest, when I was first approached, it was around about 6 years ago now, to go on the first EuroScola, I didn't have a clue what it was about. So it was very much a steep learning curve. But with a lot of preparation, and students get to experience what it would be like to be an MEP at the European Parliament in Strasbourg. There are other opportunities very similar. We have another one with the United Nations as well, and sometimes our students then can go on to Brussels, but we focus on Strasbourg. It's not just something that students can sign up for, though. There is quite a process to be chosen. So there is it helps to find those that are really passionate about certain areas, and it's not about politics. So some students think, but EuroScola, it's European Parliament, you have to be interested in politics. Yes, there will be that element, but you will tend to find that it attracts students that are passionate, for example, about the environment or about human rights. And it helps them to develop these skills and take it to a platform where they can meet other like-minded students from the other 27 European states. And Malta is very fortunate in that, because of our size and that we are quite small, when the applications come out to participate in one of the EuroScola programs, which there are several throughout the year, Malta, all the schools get the opportunity to go, all the sixth form schools, because this is open to sixth form. So we get the opportunity to go on every program. Whereas in other European countries, they have to compete within their country to get one of the slots for the Strasbourg opportunity. So our size, in this case, is a very big opportunity for our students. It's to our advantage.
Theresa, I'm going to go back a little bit on what you said in relation to politics, because I do feel that there is this misconception that politics is in fact, the politics with the capital P understood in partisan terms.
Yes.
I think it's really important what you shared, that politics is ultimately about issues which we are passionate about. So whether it's climate change, or equality, or human rights, or entrepreneurship, these are all political issues, so to speak, right?
Yes. But the students that engage don't all go into politics. For example, we have had a case, I remember on my first experience, where one of the students, he represented the college during the opening ceremony, and he had to give a speech about the college and about Malta. And after the whole experience, he said, "That's it, miss, this is what I want to do." And now he's gone on to be a mayor of his village. I mean, it just sort of installed. But then there are other students which will then go to work for NGOs because they've got this insight, or they might go into other areas within, social policy. So it doesn't have to take them down that political route. Obviously, sometimes it will have an influence, but it's, it just opens up their mind, their imagination, and see what's happening beyond our borders, if you like, as well.
Yes, very interesting.
So
you said that every college gets to participate, right? But
yes,
that does not necessarily mean that every applicant is chosen, correct?
Yes, and it's quite unfortunate because students will sign up for the course within their college, and then they have to sit a test. And it's, yes, and it's not
a test.
Sorry, say that again. I apologize.
Difficult, the test. Is it something one needs to study for quite a little bit?
Yes, it's conducted through Europa House in Valletta. So they will come into the college. The students will be given a booklet beforehand, a period of time beforehand. So they learn about how Europe is, like the values of the European Union, how it's made up, the MEPs that we have, the different houses within the system. And it's sort of, because some students might go, "Oh yes, it's a nice trip abroad." No, you have to actually work for it, and you have to actually want to take part. And the top 24 students will be the ones that are chosen. We're able to take 24 students, other schools might take less. But the maximum we can take is 24. So we try, and the minimum is 15, but we try to take as many as possible to give them this opportunity.
That's quite a substantial number though, 24, just out for one college.
Just for us, yes.
That's quite a lot.
But we're also a large college, so it helps that we have a lot. Once they're chosen, then they will be divided up into groups, and we will be allocated a theme by the EuroScola. They will give us themes beforehand. So on our last trip we had, I'll just read these through, we had the environment and renewable energies, security and human rights, the European elections, the future of Europe, migration and integration, and youth employment. And each of the student groups, we divide them up. They have to research this area. They then have to give us presentations. So we're still, developing their ideas. They have to look at what's happening in other European countries, how we as an island compare to these countries. So that once we get to the European Parliament on our chosen day, they are then split up. They don't remain with their friends and their peers. They have to go and work alongside and discuss each of their chosen topics with the other 27 countries, which is quite an experience. The actual day is amazing for the students, but that's the preparation process to be able to partake in the EuroScola. So they do have to work quite hard before we actually get to Strasbourg.
Yes, but sounds really interesting, especially then the European dimension, the fact that then one can, integrate their own ideas and look at it from both a local perspective and then a broader European perspective. So that's really interesting. Okay, so this is one trip. So the preparation, which happens then with the other representatives from different member states, happens during the stay in Strasbourg?
Yes. Once we get to Strasbourg, from our college experience, we try to make it into a cultural and an educational experience. So we will have some visits alongside. But the highlight is obviously the day at the European Parliament. On the day, we meet as a country, and then we will have a representative from EuroScola, which will then take away all the students. And we don't pretty much have any contact with them for the rest of the day. As teachers, we have to take a back seat then. And we would have we enter into the hemisphere, into the main European Parliament room. And the teachers are all situated at the back, but all the students, they'll all be dressed up in their suits and their smart dress. They take it very, very seriously. They're shown to their seats, and they're all grouped according to their themes that they discussed. We'll have a big opening ceremony, and normally we will have an address by one of the MEPs from any of the member states, from any of the parties. And they will be briefed a little bit more about how the European Parliament works, who sits where, because people think that, you know, all the Maltese sit together, the Italians sit together, and it's not like that. There it is all according to your political values. And they will have a talk by one of the leaders or one of the MEPs, and then they'll have an open session, and then they are brought together to discuss policies that they would like to implement, and then they have to actually vote on whether they want to pass these motions or not. And they have to answer questions, they will have to question the panel, and it will be the students who are on the panel as well. So it's a real experience, and it's a unique experience. This is something that they will only get to do once in their lifetime. So it's a real opportunity. And to actually participate at this level and to interact. The students do get quite a buzz out of it. They're all, you know, so excited. Miss, did you hear my question? Did you hear my question? And you know, it's, when they're chosen, it's purely run exactly as a regular session would be held, with interpreters, everything. So it's a full immersive experience.
Sounds pretty amazing.
Yeah, I still get excited talking about it. We've missed it, unfortunately, because we've been online, but hopefully we'll be able to return.
Yes, I was going to ask about that, in fact. When is the next round of applications planned for?
Hopefully the next academic year, COVID permitting. They did continue online as well, but unfortunately the enthusiasm for the online sessions was not the same as physically going, because a lot of it is just walking into the building, you know, sitting in the seats. Some students who are, you know, politically minded would want to go and sit in the representative seats with their number and say, like, I sat in so-and-so's chair, and, you know, so some do really take it seriously. But others just like the thought of being in this environment, which they all love.
So what would your message be for students who might be considering applying and they're not quite sure?
I would say go for it, and don't let the fact that none of your friends want to apply, because unfortunately sometimes that holds back students.
That's true.
But because they have to sit this test, they will not always be traveling with their friends. So they might get chosen, their friends wouldn't. And we often start with a group of 24 students who don't actually know each other. And they'll be really, really scared, really nervous. But once they start working together here in Malta and in the college, so they've already got that kind of comfort zone, they're already firm friends before we actually travel. And then the whole experience of traveling and preparation. And once we get there, I can guarantee that all the students will leave best friends. They always make friends for life after this experience. It's something that only they can experience and share. In fact, the screensaver behind me, if I just move out of the way, that's our last group, and that was outside the Court of Human Rights, because we also try and pay a visit to the Court of Human Rights when we're there, as well as part of the other experience. So definitely go for it. It's a once in a lifetime opportunity. You won't get the chance to do it again. And it's definitely something you can put on your CV, you can talk about it, and it might help you to discover a new path. Maybe you develop a passion for youth training or politics or something that you never even thought out, or even just travel.
Yes, or working abroad. What about costs, Theresa? Are all the costs covered by the program?
The program is heavily subsidized by the European Union and the program, but there are some smaller costs which students will be asked to provide, but it's usually kept very minimal, because between the college and the EuroScola is heavily subsidized. And again, this gives students an opportunity that perhaps, they're not from a background where perhaps the family can afford it, but it is totally inclusive, that all students, whatever your background, whatever your education level, you will all have the opportunity if you wish to apply. And the best thing is to just apply, see how it goes.
So young people who are interested in applying, should they contact you? Where do they reach out? What should they do?
Usually, I don't know how the other schools would work, but here at Junior College, you can go down to the international office and you can speak to Boriana, and she would be able to keep you up to date with any changes. And once we are given the go-ahead to take our next trip, we usually advertise it during Freshers Week, and we advertise it a lot on our social media platforms here at the college as well.
Yes, in fact, maybe you can share. Do you have any social media channels that maybe our followers can sign up to?
Yeah. We have our Facebook page, which is University of Malta Junior College. I think everyone will be able to find that one. And on Instagram as well, you can find us at Junior College.
Excellent. Thank you, Theresa. Is there anything else that you wish to share?
No, I think that's all. I think that's the best that we can say about the whole trip. Just go for it. It's a great trip, and I've done about 5 or 6 of these now, and I still beg to go on the next trip as well, because it's we've had students in the past where this is their first time traveling abroad.
Oh dear.
So we're actually part of their first experience of getting on an aeroplane, seeing the river, seeing Strasbourg, and the coach journey, and once they get to the European Parliament and they see this big building in front of them, you see them so excited, it's contagious, and it's like, oh, they're our students. And it's always great to meet students from other countries. They like that bit as well, and they're all chatting. And during the experience, they're not allowed their mobile phones.
Okay.
There's no Wi-Fi. They're not given any Wi-Fi, so it's they really have to be present and participative. There's no distractions there at all.
Sounds really exciting. Thank you so much for accepting our invitation, and I wish you luck on your next trip.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much for your time.
You're welcome.